Hello all, Optimizer here with another interview question for you to crunch your mind on. There are 25 horses. What is the minimum amount of races needed so you can identify the fastest 3 horses? You can race up to 5 horses at a time, but you do not have a watch. Let's dig deeper. The total number of horses, 25. Maximum number of horses per race is 5, which means that for each race, in the end, you will get the order in which each horse finished. Okay, it's very important. The total number of races is unknown, and we are looking to identify the fastest 3 horses in the minimum amount of races uh, that are required. I have noticed that online there is a lot of confusion surrounding this question. Most of the confusion comes from edge cases, and this video is trying to tackle some of that confusion by doing things slightly different, but only slightly. But hopefully, can convey the gist of the solution better than some of the other videos. That's what I'm trying to achieve here. So if you have any feedback on that, please do leave it in the comments. I'm going to explain 2 approaches for this problem. And one is a naive approach in which I will simplify the problem a lot, and the other one is uh, um, the more correct approach, which then will go through all probable inputs. So I'm first going to start by dividing all my horses randomly. You can choose any division you want, right? Into 5 groups: A, B, C, D, and E. Next up, I'm going to add a column index because I want to be able to say, okay, A1 is the first horse in that row. Moreover, I also want the order of these horses to change eventually. So, in our naive approach, we start from the condition, it's very important, that the fastest horses are in different groups. Okay, take it easy. Okay, let's go over that again. The fastest horses are in different groups. That's the condition. Okay, we will get rid of that condition later, but first we start with that condition. Okay, so demonstration. We select 3 random horses here: A5, B2, D4. They were indicated on the map. And then we will use a slightly different representation here, namely a table, so I can shift the order of the horses a lot better, right? So I want to first point your focus to A2. A2 is standing on the second spot in the A row, and we let it race, but it ends up as the last horse. So it ends in position A5, but it's actually the A2 horse in this division. Okay, that's very important to understand that difference. So when there's an arrow at the left or at the top of the screen, it means that a race happened, as in the past it happened. We know the order. So here races happened for all the horses, right? And we went from a division of A1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to a division of A2, A4, A1, A3, A5 on top. Okay, so the fastest horses of each race are now in the first column, right? A5, B2, C5, D4, E1. Fastest horses. So in our naive approach, we will say, okay, next up, let's do a race among the fastest horses, right? And that race will eventually give us the solution for the naive approach. Namely, we already know that given the condition that the fastest horses should be in different groups, that the fastest horse of each group raced against each other should end us with the 3 fastest horses uh, in the complete set of 25 horses. So we at least know that for certain inputs where that condition is true, that is a valid solution. Okay, so now let's build on that solution. Let's think a bit further. Let's say The fastest 3 horses are in the same group. Bad luck, but it happens, okay? This is basically in programming in general, this is what we call an edge case. This is most likely this is not going to happen, but it can happen, and we also need to solve those edge cases. So let's try to solve this edge case with our naive approach that we first started. Let's do a race. We have results of our race. We then check, okay, based upon our naive approach, the result is A1, D4, C5. Completely wrong. It's wrong. It doesn't work. Because the horses are there, A3, A2, and they're not in the group. So we need to think a bit smarter. We need to evolve a bit and open our minds a bit and think about, okay, what horses do I need to test to find out which horses are the fastest? And to do that, we are going to prune the tree a bit. We are going to eliminate options. And to eliminate options is basically saying, I already know that these horses are slower, so I don't need an extra race to find out if they're slower, because I already know that from the information that I have. So if you're looking for the top 3 horses, whoever finishes 4th and 5th is irrelevant. They're slower. You already know that A4 is slower than A3, and A3 can be the 3rd fastest horse. In this case it is, but it can, so why bother checking A4? It's slower. You know that. Okay, great. What else can we eliminate? Let's take a look at B1, C4 and D3, E2. Can we eliminate those? Now that's a good question. Let's take a look at B1. We know for sure, and because we already had 6 races here, we know for sure that A1 is the fastest horse. It's the fastest horse in the game. So we're only looking for 2 and 3, right? We're not looking for the 4th fastest horse. Okay, great. So we know that. So B1 in the B group, the original B group, the only real contender there was B2, which ended up in the group, which ended top dog of its group. Now, going from B1 to A1, there's 2 more B possibilities here, right? Namely B4 and B2. And we know that B2 is slower than A1, but B2 is faster than B1, and it's faster than B4. So we already know, if we wanted to say pick a random, if we are convinced for some reason that the B group has the other 2 fastest horses in the game, then we know that it would be B2 and B4. But B1 is irrelevant in this case. The same logic applies to C4, D3 and E2. Okay, so we already eliminated those. Now let's take a step further. What else can we eliminate? We can eliminate E3 and E1. Okay, why can we eliminate that? In our 6th race we noticed E1 is the last horse, so we at least have 3 other possibilities which are faster than E1, and E3 is slower than E1, and we already know that E1 is not going to cut it because we have 3 other horses which are faster. Let's eliminate them both. Okay, let's think further. What else can we eliminate? Can we eliminate B2? Good question. We are looking for 2 horses that are faster. Can we eliminate B2? The answer is yes, we can, because B2 is slower than C5 and D4. So we already are like, okay, if I need the 2 next fastest horses, why wouldn't I take D4 and C5? Right? They're faster than B2, so there's not really competition here. And we know that B4 is slower than B2. So let's eliminate them both. Next up, can we eliminate even more? Okay, the next step in our thing is C5. We know that C5 is a top 3 contender, right? We know that if we need a horse or if we need a likely candidate, it's going to be among those. So yes, we can eliminate something. The difference here is C3. C3 has been eliminated because it's slower than C5, and we already know that C5 is slower than D4. So if C5 was faster than D4, then C3 would be a contender. But now C3 is not a contender because it's per definition slower than C5, and otherwise C5 would have ended up faster. So that's why D4 is not a that's why C3 is not a contender. Then let's look to the next one, namely D4. Can we eliminate D4 and or D5? Well, this is very difficult. We need to think about this. We know that D4 is currently the second fastest horse. We have no idea how fast D5 is. D5 might be faster than C5. It's definitely a possibility, right? But it's also a possibility that C5 is faster than D5. We simply don't know at this point. We've eliminated so much. This is probably it. So let's think logically about this. A1 is the fastest horse. The second fastest horse, A2, can be eliminated. Can we eliminate A2 without the knowledge that it's the second fastest horse? Let's think about it. You cannot, because you simply don't know. It's the whole column in whatever version of this problem statement. The row of the fastest horse is always masked by the fact that it's the fastest horse. Let's say that B1 was the fastest horse, then whoever was the second and third in the second race of our solution, yeah, so that are two horses of the B group, would be masked by the fastest horse. So we still need to do a race here. And the race is simple. We need to check D5, C5, D4, A3, A2 on who's the fastest. And that's our final race. So let's do that race, and from that race we will see, okay, A1, A2, A3, fastest horses in the game. That's the solution. So let's see. In optimization and in algorithmic thinking in general, we first try to find a solution that covers most of the cases, and then we try to find solution for the edge cases. In this case, we first thought and said, how can I, with a very simple approach, find a solution? Okay, and then we said, okay, yeah, if I think a bit further, if I eliminate some things, then I can improve that solution further for about any input. So in the random case for this solution, we will always need 7 races. Okay, 7 is the bound. Any solution online otherwise that says you need more races is simply not correct. It's possible in 7 races. You don't need more races. That doesn't mean that you cannot do it in more races. Obviously, you can reach the same solution by gathering the same information multiple times. That's obviously possible, but that was not the original problem statement. So in this case, 7 races is where we need to end. So as final remarks, I would like to invite you to share, like, and subscribe to my channel. If you want more problems to be tackled, let us know in the comments. Give us suggestions on problems that you found particularly hard or not hard, or were like mindfucked by, and then we'll give it an attempt to make like a nice overview of them and suggest some solutions. Thank you for your attention and have a great day.